And welcome to Music Rant. I'll be your host, Danny McMahon, this evening, and for the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to be making loose women look like pornography. Joining us via satellite connection this evening shall be the one and only Chymera, or for all intents and purposes tonight, Bren. Any questions you have, you can send to us at hashtag Chymera at FECTV. And so get involved, send us in questions. Bren, how are you?
I'm very good indeed, thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us this evening.
It's my pleasure.
Excellent. So look, I've got lots to ask you, so I'm just going to try and launch right into it, if that's all right with you, yeah?
Absolutely.
So first off, as far as I know, and my bit of detective work has told me, you started off playing guitar.
It's true. It is true. I started at the age of 12, I think.
12, okay.
Metallica was the band that kind of led me on my path to where I am today, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's been a long path, but yeah, that got me to where I am now. If it wasn't for Metallica, I wouldn't have been inspired to take up the guitar and then spend countless days and hours in my bedroom just noodling away in the guitar.
So what came with the guitar playing? I mean, did you end up joining a band? Did you sing and play guitar? Paint a picture for us here.
You know what? I never was able to get a band together, and I don't know if that's because I think that still kind of led a little bit into my present day methods of making music, that I also haven't really managed to kind of successfully collaborate with anyone. I know I've got a very stubborn vision of what I want, and when I was kind of growing up, I didn't find anyone else who shared that exact vision. Right. I mean, I did a few things. I played in a few school things, and I did some like event kind of stuff, you know, various little things, but I never had like a band proper.
So you would have been the Axl Rose of the band, is that what you're trying to tell me?
Exactly.
Fireworks. And so, was there anyone other than Metallica? I mean, in fact, so you were saying you started off kind of, I don't know, for me it's kind of funny, I draw parallels between the kind of dance music you're into and the kind of rock music you're into, do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You know, obviously if you're into kind of the heavier side of rock music, you end up into techno, you know, that kind of way. And it's like the heavier of a different, different breed of music altogether, you know?
Yeah.
So how did you end up making the transition then? Was there a particular act or artist that inspired you to put down the guitar? And
no, I was just going to college when I was 18 and going to a proper rave for the first time ever. Okay. Because before that, my only exposure, well, I don't know, did you, during the 90s when I was growing up in Cork, there was a big distinction. You were either a mosher or a raver when you were growing up.
Nary the two men.
I know. I was a mosher, and like it was just unheard of. Like if you're a mosher, you did not listen to rave, and vice versa.
I'm getting a thumbs up from our head of production, Martin. There, he's like, "Yes, you were either a mosher, but that's how it was." It was like what, West Side Story, was it?
It was intense. You used to go to the local disco, and like they play some like, you know, dance tunes, and all the moshers, all us long hairs would be at the side, and then the second they put on like Nirvana or Metallica or something, it just floods in, everyone just moshing around the floor, and there'd be loads of fights between the moshers and ravers and everything. So yeah, it was a bit. So anyway, to answer your question, I did not like dance music, electronic music whatsoever when I was going through that phase. Practically most of my teenage years. It was only when I went to college.
Yeah.
A friend of mine was a DJ. I got friendly with a guy that was living a few doors down from me, and he just showed me how to DJ. It was completely unknown to me, and then from that I gradually kind of got into it, and I also started going to some like parties when I was there in college, and within a very short space of time I was a convert.
Yeah, you were a turncoat. Is that what you're trying to say? You're on the other side of the wall with your rocker mates going, no! So, I mean, in terms of, you were saying at that turning point where you started in college, just that kind of music. In Cork itself, what was the music scene like at the time?
I don't really know, because actually I went to school just in Youghal, little town down in East Cork.
I'm familiar with its work. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's where I've been staying for the last couple of weeks. Yeah.
Already. So I didn't really go up to the city all that much. I because I wasn't really. I mean, I wasn't really old enough when I was there anyway to kind of go out on my own up to the city or anything at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So really, I never really saw much of the music scene in Cork itself, and in Youghal, there wasn't really a huge amount either. Just like local pub bands, and that was about it. So like everything, my music education was through buying CDs and listening to radio or whatever.
That's where the education came from. Okay, so it was self-imposed rather than the crowd influencing you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, listen, you moved to Dublin, Costa Rica, Barcelona, Berlin, all in the last couple of years. How did each move kind of affect you musically? I mean, you know, was there a progression there in terms of building up your own, just your own kind of following and all that kind of stuff? You know.
I don't know, like if the places themselves inspired a change in my music, but
yeah,
I think it has kind of evolved over the past few years. But probably I would have gone along a similar kind of evolution with my music, even if I just stayed in one place. It was more to do with actually the fact that I started playing gigs in different countries, and you know, DJing for different audiences and seeing, you know, what kind of music works, and being. And then, you know, being on the internet the whole time, listening, I still DJ regularly, so I listen to new music all the time. So my tastes have kind of, you know, changed over the years and have updated. I mean, there's generally, my music always tends to be quite melodic.
Yeah.
That's the usual feature of my stuff. But where before I kind of started out with kind of more techno kind of stuff, and in the last few years I got a bit more house orientated, but I still make bits of both, you know. So that's the main change. And just by DJing out, I see also, you know, what works in Ireland to a crowd of like mad out of it's in Ireland does not work to, you know, to a crowd in I don't know, Poland or Spain or whatever like that, you know.
Well, I was going to say Spain. They have you know, I thought the taste would have vastly differed, you know, in terms of just what they consider dance music. I mean, there's an awful lot of hand clapping going on there. You know what I mean? Do you think, like, when you would have been doing gigs in the likes of Barcelona, would it have been to kind of more of an international crowd and rather than the locals?
Barcelona, well, it depends very much on where you're playing in Barcelona. Barcelona is a bit different now to the rest of Spain. Barcelona, you can play much more housey, for instance.
Yeah.
The rest of Spain is almost exclusively hard techno still. It's like they're
Really?
stuck in like a hard techno loop. No, not always. There is variation all around, and there's kind of different pockets. And I play in Valencia a lot, and you know. But yeah, Barcelona, Valencia, those kind of places, you can get away with playing like house, but in a lot of the other places, you generally have to kind of pump it out a bit, you know.
Nah,
and it's the same in lots of different countries. You get that even from city to city in different countries, and once you know kind of the sound of that city, then it makes it a bit easier to cater towards them.
So you are becoming adaptable and kind of learning the sound of each city as you go along. I mean, so you're not just sticking to the one set, basically.
No, not at all. And I mean, even, you know, it varies even from club to club and from night to night as well. You just have to basically just see like who's playing on the lineup, what the warm-up DJ is playing, who's playing after me, or what, you know, what the style of the night is, and then I just adapt to that, and I see what the crowd wants as well, you know. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. Makes sense. Like you list on your website anyway, that you play everything from techno, house, electro, deep cuts. And I had to listen to one of your live sets there recently, and literally when you mention all these things, it's kind of like you go through them all in the one set. You know what I mean? I was kind of sitting there, and first of all, it kind of starts out with a bit of kind of almost kind of jazzy piano and kind of, you know, with a kind of classical edge, and then the next thing you know, you're in house territory, and then a couple of minutes later, there's a bit of techno going on, and back to some nice chilled electronica, you know? Yeah.
When I do my live sets, that's generally it. I mean, I'm playing obviously all my own music, so I like to give a cross section through my back catalogue and through my upcoming stuff, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, in terms of DJing as well, you've played gigs in the States, Asia, Australia, all over Europe. Has there been a highlight? I mean, what's been the best and the worst gig, and why? Oh
man, I always get asked this question, and I can never. I can never really think. Generally, the best ones are the ones that I don't remember. That's
Okay.
When I get, I'm obviously like, yeah, completely drunk out of my mind, and have like, you know, a crowd loving every bit of it, and I wake up, you know, maybe 3 o'clock the next afternoon, getting called to go to the airport or something. They're generally the best ones. So I'm lucky that I like playing. I mean, I enjoy playing. I like playing small gigs better because you get a better vibe in the room. Like, I'm trying to think. I enjoy playing in Berlin, you know, because Berlin is cool. I get like my friends coming down, and it's a bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
I had some good gigs in at the end of last year. I'm trying to think. I played in Moscow in October. That was really good. It was a live set. And I played in Moscow. Yeah, I played there a few times actually, and I played in near Treviso in Italy at the end of November. That was really good fun. That was a DJ set. Yeah, and I don't know. Other times I've had fun. I remember playing a beach party in Barcelona once about 5 years ago, which was like an off sonar party.
Okay.
And that was brilliant actually. I love playing outdoors, and especially if I can, kind of like in the evening time or something, where it's like either the sun's going down or either there's a bit of light. I like doing that kind of
feed off the atmosphere and the ambience.
Yeah, was just all happy. Yeah. I really like those gigs. But I also like playing the dark, sweaty rooms as well. You know, so.
Now, not that I'd be calling you evasive, but in the good, strong 13 years you've been playing live, give me your worst cock up.
Oh my God. My worst cock up. Oh no. Oh yeah, there was the time that I was playing my live set, rocking it. It was going really fucking good. Sorry, really, really good. And then suddenly, boom, everything stopped. And I was like going, oh no, what happened? What happened? My computer started shutting down.
Yeah.
I was like, what's happening? And I realized I hadn't plugged the computer in at all.
Oh.
So the whole time I've been doing it, just playing without the power cable in. So yeah, it took a while to boot back up. Apart from that, like I've been lucky as regards I haven't really had any crashes or anything. There's been a few times where I've played a gig and it's been clear that the person that booked me heard like one of my tracks or something, and I get booked to play. I remember one time I got booked to play this, like I walked in and the guy that was playing before me was banging out this like progressive trance or something. I don't know, like really, really hard, trancey, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And like I went on after him, like going, oh, what do I do? You know, I played and they had to say after like 30 minutes, they said, that's okay, you don't have to play anymore. And I went, oh, thank God. It was just a completely wrong party for me to be at, you know?
As long as you get paid, man, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And have you ever been in a situation where somebody's absolutely rolled out the red carpet for you and went, you know, treated you like a king? Have you got the celebrity treatment yet?
Yeah, I've had that. Actually, you know, you'd be surprised. Generally, you do get looked after very nicely. And even if it's from just, you know, hanging around with nice, friendly lads and going for a couple of drinks before the party, or actually, you know, getting picked up in a Merc from the airport and brought to like a really plush hotel and taken to the best restaurants. I've seen that all, you know, and it's nice. Yeah. Nice. They generally do. They do look after you quite well within their means, you know.
And well deserved, no doubt. So listen, just to get on to the creative aspect of it, it's something that fascinates me personally. When you're actually creating a tune, what's the process? I mean, from where do you draw inspiration? How does it happen? How does it get started, you know?
I start with melodies. So I just go in the studio and I just start like either hammering some melody out on my keyboard, or a lot of the time actually I just like put notes in with the mouse into the computer, and I just kind of move stuff around and I loop things differently and I play with my synths and I try and find a sound that I like and a little melodic loop.
Yeah.
And I just keep on that, and then once I get a little kind of melody going, everything else generally kind of falls into place around it. There's a bit of trial and error, but you know, once I get the main loop down first, then it's much easier to carry on from that. But kind of locking into that initial groove or melody can take a while. Sometimes it can literally be instant, and other times I can be doing that for the whole day, and at the end I just have to say, right, that's it, delete, and go.
And do you ever have like dry spells where you kind of get frustrated and go, right, now today I write a song?
Oh, I go through that all the time.
Does it ever work?
They're just waves. I mean, I usually go for like a month or two where I write a load of music. Not all of it is good. Actually, most of it is rubbish. I usually have quite a high work rate, and it's
the
just
bulk folder is better
of,
than the
like,
Premiere. Yeah.
making tunes, and like one in every 20 tracks that I make or something is actually only good at the end of it. But yeah, and then I go through like 2 or 3 months sometimes. As much as that, like summer generally tends to be quite a dry period. I don't know if it's to do with just the good weather outside or something. I don't like being stuck inside. I don't know. Yeah. It's hard to get inspiration then. Yeah. Autumn and spring are usually the best.
Cool. And talking about the music industry today, rather, is there anyone that inspires you at the moment?
I'm trying to think now. I've been listening to a lot of ambient music lately.
Yeah.
And you know, this is another question I always get asked, like, oh, what are your best and worst gigs, and who's your favorite producer at the moment? And I always kind of like, when I'm put on the spot, I kind of think, actually, I don't know, I don't have one. I don't have like one. I'm trying to think, is there any one producer who like every single thing that they put out I love?
Yeah.
But God, 1 second, I can look through my iTunes here, and I can tell you what I purchased.
Live television. Chymera going through his iTunes. Yeah.
Oh God!
Do you keep track of what's coming out of Ireland just while you're looking there, while you're browsing?
Any producers out of Ireland?
Yeah, do you keep an eye on new artists or anything like that?
Well, Mano Latouf is doing really well for himself at the moment. He's a friend of mine here in Berlin, and
he's over in Berlin.
He's doing well. He's making some really good music at the moment too. So I mean, he's definitely the next big Irish export.
Yeah.
Apart from that, I'm trying to think now. Ooh, no, and I'm looking through my iTunes now. I've got loads of tunes that I really like that are just all by like loads of different artists. So I don't really have any one thing, and I'm listening to so much different styles as well, so many different things that it's hard to just pick out one.
Well, there's another question in terms of styles and everything. Do you find yourself, do you get inspired by like, everyday pop music, classical, all of the genres, or do you just kind of predominantly, would you sit at home listen to dance or electronica, you know?
Generally at home, I listen to, up until about 2 or 3 years ago, I used to never listen to any electronic music at home at all. I would only listen to, metal, alternative rock, that sort of stuff. Yeah. In the last 2 or 3 years, I've gotten very much into, more electronic sounds, which are not dance floor, non-dance floor kind of stuff, like ambient and whatever. Actually, I just thought of an artist that I really like at the moment, Steve Moore. He's from America. He's half of a progressive rock band called Zombie, and he makes amazing synthesizer full music. And he's a big influence of mine at the moment. So there. Okay,
so he'd be kind of the dirtier side of things, would he?
Not very dirty, just really like kind of John Carpenter-esque. Lots of synth melodies swirling around.
It's funny you say John Carpenter now, because I was listening to one of your sets earlier on, and it was that kind of dun 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 Carpenter-esque kind of sound in the background, building over the melody you built up previously. Anyway, I'm going to try and race through some of these questions because we're actually running out of time. Okay. So quickly, just about, I noticed with electronic music, and I'd usually be more familiar with kind of the band setup, you release through multiple labels. I mean, you're not tied to any one label at any time. That must be a great freedom. And what's the crack with that?
Crack with that is that, I will prostitute myself out to, whoever wants to have me. No, basically, I mean, I just send out, I finish an EP and I think about what labels I like a lot at the moment, and I just send them out to them, and hopefully one of them picks them out. And I've got on well with a lot of labels that I've been on, but I haven't quite found, an all-round label that would be able to put out or like all of the stuff that I do. it would be really nice to do that because that's actually a nice solid kind of home base or whatever. I've come close to it a few times, but I still haven't quite found that label, you know.
But there is still, you're still open to the idea of signing directly to a label. It does happen within dance music where you sign to one label and that's it, though, yeah?
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. You know, if you find that right label and they're good for you and you're good for them, then it works. It works really good, you know. And I've had lots of good experiences with the labels that I've been on, but you know, generally when it comes around, when I come with new material and they're either like, no, we're not quite feeling this new stuff now, you know, and I'm kind of evolving a little bit the whole time, so
you fish around a little bit and see who's biting, kind of a thing at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Start your own label. That's all I'm saying. Okay, because we're running out of time now, I'm just going to ask you a few questions that have been sent in. This one's from John Boy Smith, and the question is: having been involved in the Irish dance music scene since roughly 2000, what state do you find it in now?
The Irish dance music scene.
Aye.
The Irish dance music scene, I think, is really good. I mean, like I said, there's various producers who are really making a splash on the international scene. I mean, you've got like that guy Matador who's signed to Richie Houghton's label Minus, and he's huge at the moment. You've got Mano, various others, you know. And when you went back 10 years ago, there wasn't quite as many as there is now. So I think it's a really good time for Irish dance music. I can't comment specifically on, for instance, the club scene back in Ireland, because I know that's gone through a lot of changes since I've been there. Sure. I always have fun when I go back to play, like for instance in Cork I played in the Pav a few times. It's been really good fun. And up in Dublin I play, I don't know, Twisted Pepper or the Pod, which closed down. It's always good fun, you know, but yeah, the club scene is always a bit tricky. But I think as regards producers, I'm really happy with everything that's going on now.
Cool.
Out of the bar.
I'll just race through these questions now. So you are now based in Berlin, like other Irish electronic artists, The Drifter and Manoli Tough. What importance do you place on a city's club culture having to be dynamic and adaptable over decades?
What important?
It's a three-tier question, wasn't it?
Yeah. So what importance do I place on Berlin as being what? Sorry, what was the question again?
What importance do you place on a city's club culture having to be dynamic and adaptable over decades?
Well, it is very important. I mean, you can see that, you know, in Ireland, like if you compare directly, and there's a big difference between Ireland and Berlin. I mean, Berlin has had like a massive culture for a long time, and it's got a huge amount of support, and a lot of people that even in their older, you know, you go out to the clubs in Berlin and you've got people like 30, 40, 50 years old who still go regularly clubbing, which you don't get as much in Ireland. It's more seen as a kind of a youth thing. I think it's part of the culture. The same thing in Holland as well. Holland and Belgium tend to have like a very long established dance scene, and they've got this whole mentality that goes with it as well. It's not just a kids thing, you know. And obviously when you've got these clubs like in Berlin where you can play that are open, you know, 48 hours long or something, you've got, you know, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of DJs playing there every weekend, and you've got so many people from around the world who are living in Berlin, who are famous DJs or not so famous DJs who are also playing here on a regular basis. When you have all those options, of course it's going to make it's going to have an effect on the music and the scene, I guess, you know. So it's I don't know. Is that a good enough term?
Yeah, well handled. And last, very importantly, this is from Sean Fitz in Dublin. Would you prefer to fight 6 duck-sized tigers or 1 tiger-sized duck? Get it together now, Brendan. This is serious shit.
I'd have to say 6 duck-sized tigers. I think they'd be really cute, actually.
Be something to see, wouldn't it?
I think they'd be awesome. I'd just try and win them over. I'd try and pet them or something.
And I bet you would win them over, Bren Gregory. So listen, I know January's slow, but I believe this Friday you're going to be doing a broadcast from sweatlodgeradio.com.
Yeah, I'm playing in a venue here in Berlin called Prince Charles. It's just an early gig. I'll be DJing for an hour from 9 to 10 Berlin time, which is 8 to 9 Irish time. Correct. And it's also streamed live on the internet at the same time from sweatlodgeradio.com. Sweatlodgeradio.com.
Okay, other than that, up in March you have an EP coming up with Dirt Crew Records, am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, I've got a 4-track EP coming out, and then the month after that, I've got a track coming out on Compact Records.
Compact Records, excellent.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you very much, Bren Chymera, for being here with us this afternoon, or this evening rather. And you can find out more about this man on www.chymera.org, or else in the usual SoundCloud, Facebook and Twitter. So thank you so much for being with us here tonight. I really appreciate it. And yeah, you've been great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a million, man.
Have a good one.
So next week on Music Rant, we'll be here with the Mandolas. So please stay tuned for that and follow us next Wednesday at 8 p.m.